following program is intended for mature audiences.
According to the late Emily Post, one of America's most recognizable authors on matters of etiquette, there are times when nothing but a handwritten letter will do.
To the fans, I take full responsibility for the mistakes that led to my suspension for the 2014 season. I regret that my actions made the situation worse than it needed to be. To Major League Baseball, the Yankees, the Steinbrenner family, the Players Association, and you, the fans, I can only say, I'm sorry.
Dear A-Rod, I accept your apology. I accept your apology for testing positive for steroids, for denying you tested positive for steroids, for testing positive for steroids again, for denying you tested positive for steroids again, for suing Major League Baseball, for suing the Players Union, for suing the Yankees doctor, for testing positive for steroids a third time, for denying you tested positive for steroids again, for having Cameron Diaz feed you popcorn, for turning yourself into a centaur, for kissing your reflection in the mirror, and most importantly, for not being Derek Jeter. Apology accepted, A-Rod. Your friend, Michelle Denise Beadle.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Which,
I would have bought a Moses action figure.
Which Kung Fu grip, which character had the Kung Fu grip? I remember that, but G.I. Joe, that's what I thought, yeah. Action figure Moses with karate grip.
Yeah, you could have like a Ramses to, have a fight. Be like awesome.
Good stuff.
And Ramses with his stupid Joker plot. That was the best part about that. It's like, holy shit, they didn't just get Christian Bale. They ripped off the plot to The Dark Knight.
By the way, you saw that the Joker's on Gotham now, right?
Yeah, I haven't actually watched the episode.
I haven't either. I don't know if I want to. But they're like, well, he's not going to be the Joker yet. But the fact that you have to introduce him.
Howard Stern loves that show. I was listening to him Monday, I think, and he was just raving about it.
Taste.
I don't know. I gave it 2 episodes, and it was just, really bad. Maybe it's gotten better, but...
Supposedly the Penguin stuff is really the only thing that's been salvageable.
Well, he was the only good part about the 2 episodes I saw, so...
Right.
Actually, it was him, and the guy who's playing Bullock is really good, too.
Oh, yeah. Donald Logue.
Yeah, so...
Oh, yeah, he's good. He's always good.
Bullock and the Penguin are bright spots, but the whole thing is just not working. Oh, and right. Alfred now has a Cockney accent.
Smallville, so he's not very refined?
No, it's not like refined British. Alfred now has like a Cockney accent. It's hilarious. Like,
hello, Master Wade, how are you?
Pretty much, yeah.
Would you like a pint? All right. The size of a tangerine. Some men just want to watch the world burn, Mr. Wayne. We were in the jungles of Vietnam.
Well, I wonder if these hats are worth anything. No, see, that's the thing.
What?
I've got $46 of an Amazon gift certificate, and I'm just having a hell of a time figuring out what to buy with it.
Well, it's Amazon. They have everything.
Well, I had $100 to start, and then I bought a couple things. Now I have $46 left, and I have it's just, I don't know if it's too much stuff or if I just really don't want anything. I can't decide what the problem is.
Hold on to it and buy a new Browns hat.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Or buy an old Browns hat.
Do you guys realize that this coming Tuesday, I really do believe we are going to see the greatest meltdown in the history of the boards this Tuesday when the Browns release that logo?
I'm looking forward to the final death of Greg's Browns fandom. It's not even really the same team you grew up with, and now the last vestiges of what actually might have connected them are being dumped away so they can be the brown and orange Buccaneers.
It's like there was me, I'm a little ember still burning and just barely glowing in a fire, and they're about to come over and throw a bucket of water on me and stomp on me. That's basically the way I look at it.
The Johnny Manziel rehab era.
Yeah. But I really do think the boards, I don't know. I just think that it's going to be the greatest meltdown we've ever seen on the boards.
The boards are going to crash.
I
guarantee the amount of traffic that day is going to crash the boards.
I'm curious to see if it breaks the record, which I think was when the Arizona Cardinals rebranded. I think that still holds the record for most board views over like a single topic.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
you think about it. The Cardinals.
This is going to dwarf that.
And then it turned out that we all probably would have preferred it if they kept the old stuff.
I like the helmet. I always like the logo. The
new logo is great.
The new logo is great.
But take like the Jake Plummer era.
Yeah.
Wear the current helmet, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
That's all the Cardinals ever really need to be.
Somebody said it in the thread yesterday that this was like the most anticipated unveiling ever on the boards. And I first thought, nah. And then I thought about it. I thought, it probably is going to be because it's
either that or the NHL Edge change.
I don't know, though. The Minnesota, Jacksonville, the first round of Nike jerseys, that was a pretty big, or uniforms, NFL uniforms was pretty big, too.
I remember
because when Nike was first coming over, we were all like, well, what are they going to do? And the Seahawks were the first team that they changed.
And then the Panthers were weird because they barely altered their logo to the point that most people probably didn't even notice. And then they didn't even go with the new Nike fits. So why even bother?
They didn't change their entire jersey. They just we're going to modify the logo slightly
to the point that it's practically unnoticeable to the vast majority of the fan base. Why even change the logo at that point?
I think that this Browns thing, it's going to because they're probably the most divisive team in all of sports when it comes to this because
why is their logo a helmet?
Right, there's that.
Why are the Browns orange?
There's all that stuff, and then if there's a better illustration of a team that just cuts right down the middle between traditionalists and modernists, it's the Browns.
The traditional Browns uniforms are very divisive. Like, no one is lukewarm on them. Either people view them as untouchable classics, which in my opinion they are, or people find them absolutely dull and boring and they need to be dumped. Like, there's they're all right.
Exactly.
As someone who thinks that the Browns are pretty much fine as is, their current set would be more than passable if their current set would be perfect if they just dumped the stupid brown pants.
Yeah.
I don't think we're actually seeing the new uniforms on Tuesday.
No.
It's just the new logo.
Right.
I'm expecting
the new
robot bulldog.
I love it when this stuff happens because there's always a couple of rookies over there that they go out and they go, this is something that I saw that's secret, blah, 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 and then somebody comes along and goes, that's a Fraser Davidson thing. Come on. It cracks me up.
That happened twice, actually. Well, once it was Fraser Davidson, and then another was Brendan Moore.
Right.
Yeah, so...
They're like, I've got this thing, and it's an inside, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, come on. We know who that is.
Our good friend, the Admiral, I think, said it best. Like, Davidson does amazing work, but it's gone to the point now where you can kind of just pick out his style.
Yeah. He's very...
So you see that, and you're like, that's not the new logo. Fraser did that.
He's like, the comic book guys. I can't think. Brandios. Yeah, he's kind of gotten into that direction where you immediately recognize it's his stuff. But it's going to be wild. We know the logo's not going to be a helmet, which pretty much means it's got to be a dog, right? Because they've come out and said they're not going to use the elf.
Right, they said they're not going to use Brownie.
Which is stupid, by the way.
You'd think it would be not a helmet, but their social media sites right now, instead of being a picture of their logo, it's a gray silhouette of a helmet.
Right.
I don't understand why they're ditching Brownie. Like, yeah, it could stand to use like an update or two. Like, cleaning it up wouldn't hurt. But
I don't think they're completely getting rid of it. They're just not making it the new main logo.
Well, that's a mistake.
I think in the same way that like the dog pound is still technically part of their logo package, but you don't see it.
I don't like the idea of the Browns using a dog as their logo. I mean, Greg, you yourself have said that, the dog pound does not represent the entirety of the Cleveland Browns fan base.
No, for the most part, most Browns fans are kind of a little embarrassed by the dog pound because it's certainly not the best and brightest of the Browns fans, whatever you want to call it. But no.
That wasn't you shirtless in the end zone last season?
Wearing a rubber dog mask?
I sat in the dog pound once. It was the weekend that it was announced they were moving to Baltimore. They were playing
I'm so surprised you got out of there alive.
It was, I honestly, it was the only time in my life I've ever been to a sporting event where I truly felt like I was in a little bit of danger. Because, again, it wasn't the last game they played. That was against Cincinnati. But the announcement was made because I remember I was living in Syracuse, and every year there was a bunch of Browns fans. We'd charter a bus and go down for a game. And we're on our way down, and we got to about Buffalo on Saturday, and they started listening to the Cleveland radio station, and the rumors started breaking the Browns are going to be moving to Baltimore. And by the time you got there, it was ugly already. But inside that stadium, I still maintain to this day, had Art Modell been in that building, he would have never gotten out of it alive.
You know, if he was smart, he probably found like an underground Hitler bunker to wait out a few days.
I honestly don't know if he's ever been back to Cleveland since. I honestly don't think he has.
Well, he died.
Well,
so
I mean, I should say,
he's not going to go back anymore.
But before he died, I honestly don't think he had been back to Cleveland, at least not in any public capacity. I guarantee you that.
And at least one Browns fan has actually pissed on his grave.
Yeah, good for them. You know what, though? It really wasn't, when you look into the whole story of it, really get behind the scenes of the whole thing, I can't blame him for moving the team. I really can't. I mean, as much as I wanted to hate him back in the day, it wasn't his fault.
It's sort of one of those things where, and it's just absurd, where he was like, look, we need a new stadium. Cleveland said no. He said, well, okay, I'm going to go to a city that will. And then after he had already left, then Cleveland's like, oh, okay, well, now we'll build a stadium.
They had this thing called the Gateway Project, and he wanted the Browns Stadium to be, a new Browns Stadium to be at the top of that list. And they basically told him, no, you need to wait. So what do they do? You've got a team that was drawing 80,000 fans a game without fail. Whether they were 12-4 or 3-13, they always showed up. So what does Cleveland do in its infinite wisdom? They go out and they build a stadium for a baseball team that was lucky to draw 4,000 people a game. And then they build the basketball arena for a team that wasn't drawing worth shit.
Are you implying that Cleveland's municipal government is not the brightest of the bunch?
I think they could give Glendale a run for their money. Let's put it that way. And that's how it all took place. And he said, and then when it came time...
Do they subsidize the lake fires?
When it came time to build for his turn, they basically told him we don't have the money, and that's how the whole thing broke. But
then they came up with the money once the team left. So
of course, like they always do, yeah.
It's kind of like the situation in St. Louis where they're
what I was going to say.
They're scrambling to get this stadium project built, and they're like, well, this has nothing to do with Los Angeles. Well, okay, no, that's a lie, because if it had nothing to do with Los Angeles, you would have done this 5 years ago.
Right.
And if it had nothing to do with keeping the Rams, they wouldn't be speeding up this process as fast as they are.
Yeah, because
and Stan Kroenke's already basically got a foot in L.A. already. Last I checked, he can begin building this new football palace as early as June if everything goes his way, which it probably will.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's if the city council of Inglewood does the rezoning themselves and doesn't wait for the people to vote on it.
Which they probably will, I think.
Do you think, though, that I always thought this with the Browns and the mayor and all that, I don't think they ever had any intention of actually, like if Modell had said, okay, you know what, then screw Baltimore, I'm going to stay here, build me my stadium, I don't think it would have ever happened. They would have just kept putting him out, because I think it was just a political ploy. I think it's the same thing that's happening in St. Louis right now. Mm-hmm. The politicians look good. Well, we're trying to keep the Rams, but they don't want to keep the Rams. They don't want to blow all that money. Come on. And like we've said, if a viable plan was there, it would have come up long before Los Angeles or Baltimore ever entered the picture. So it's just, but anyway, back to my point, Modell gets a lot of blame that he doesn't deserve. And I'm not saying he's entirely without fault in the whole thing, but believe me, both sides screwed up pretty bad.
Yeah.
So.
But hey, could the Browns win you back, Greg, with a good logo?
Nah, probably not. No, it's over. When you look at your wall every day and you see a Green Bay Packers stock certificate on the wall and all that, it just changes the whole ball game. Uh-huh. And as devastated as I was after that colossal choke against Seattle, I thought I haven't felt like this way about the Browns since 1995.
Well, I mean it's kind of harsh to say, but watching your team completely piss away a game like that, and trust me, I know how it feels. The feeling that you get, as much as it might suck, it really does kind of reaffirm your fandom.
Right, exactly.
Like, oh well, you know what? I guess I'm on board. Did you guys watch that amazing Rangers-Islanders game?
I sure did.
Can we get rid of the Coyotes and just have every game be like that?
I would rather it be, what was the final score, 5-4, 6-5?
I think it was
6-5.
I would rather have it be a final score of, say, 4-3, because I'm not crazy about a lot of
6-5's a lot.
Yeah, but yeah, it was awesome.
I've always thought the perfect hockey score is 3-2.
Yep, me too. Mm-hmm. I'm right there with you.
That's a good solid game.
Yep.
Or 4-2, with an empty net goal or something.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, those games are exciting, and when you're at them, they can be exhausting.
Right.
There needs to be some defense being played, or some quality goaltending being shown.
Exactly. I mean, one of the greatest hockey games I've ever been to in person was the Toledo Gold Diggers game in like 1985, I think, or 4 maybe. It was 1-0, but it was both goalies were just standing on their heads all night. I mean, they both had like 40-plus saves, just incredible defense, and that was awesome.
I love a good goaltender duel. Problem is, most people don't, and if it ends up being like a score of 1-0 or 2-1, then people hockey sucks, hockey's boring. I'm like, first of all, watch soccer if you really want to see low scoring.
Well, I think too that in a goalie face-off like that if you're there in person, it makes a big difference. On television, it's just not because you're not there in the moment and watching these guys just pull off just amazing save after amazing save. And
to bring it more to your sensibilities too, Greg, I mean, like there's a difference between a 1-0 slog of a baseball game
right.
and a 1-0 pitcher's duel. And there's a difference between a 2-1 kind of boring hockey game and
where both teams are playing the trap.
A 6-5 score, I mean, it was an awesome game. It was a lot of fun to watch, and I'm not going to knock it. I mean, hell, it was fun to watch. I was rooting for the Rangers. They came back and won it. That was really cool. Anyway, to answer your point, yes, I saw the game.
I didn't catch all of the game. I had the option to watch it, but with no real interest in either team, I sort of watched other things until I heard people saying, like, oh, man, this game's amazing.
That game was amazing. And I had this thing in the tabs from that game, but I'll do it now while we're here. Mm-hmm. Because it's the 40th, the last season of Nassau Coliseum out there on Long Island, during the broadcast, they do some interviews with some old fans. So they interviewed this lady on TV at the Islanders game. She might have gone into labor, but didn't, so she was able to watch the Islanders lift their last Stanley Cup in '84 or wherever it was. And she also mentions that her son was conceived in the Nassau Coliseum parking lot.
Yeah.
That's what you want to hear. That's what you want to hear your mom say on TV.
In a thick Long Island accent.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
And that was priceless. But yeah, it was an entertaining game from all aspects. And I mean, while we're on the uniform track in terms of hockey games, did you see the Caps Penguins game this week?
Oh, that was beautiful.
No, I didn't.
They both were the throwbacks.
Oh.
The black and the gold versus the white and the red, and it was glorious looking.
What day was it on? I have to see this.
Let me see. I think I might.
NHL.com.
I think it was Tuesday.
Oh, holy hell!
Right.
Oh man, that's what hockey should look like, folks.
And it was a great game too. Ovechkin's on fire right now too. He's probably playing.
And you want to know what else about Ovechkin? He has hair.
I mentioned the Ducks Caps game on Sunday. Getzlaf, after the game, the Ducks lost embarrassingly. They played like garbage, just like they did last night against Tampa. And in the game, Getzlaf got called for a slashing penalty that, at the time, I didn't think was a penalty. Mm-hmm. And Getzlaf was going after Ovechkin. Ovechkin wasn't buying it. They were jawing. Getzlaf called him out all over the game, saying it was fucking embarrassing to see someone of his skill just diving all over the ice. After the Penguins game, somebody asked Alex about it. And Alex came back with, maybe he's just jealous. I have hair. He don't have hair. We can start talking about it all day long.
God, that game was gorgeous, man.
While we're on the subject of throwback uniforms, the Kings, they wore their golds this week.
Yes, they did.
Did you see them, Greg?
I did.
They're bright.
I'm not a fan.
They are.
I am not a fan.
If they went purple helmet, I'd be okay. Whatever euphemism you want to use for purple helmet.
There's a Brett Favre joke in there somewhere.
Yeah. The yellow helmet on these things.
Sean Salisbury joke, too.
The yellow helmet on these things is just a little too much. They were very bright.
In my opinion, the Kings haven't had really a really good look. Actually, for as many as they have, I don't think they've actually nailed it at any one point. But I will say the best the Kings have ever looked, in my opinion, would be the Gretzky years.
The Chevy logo? Yeah.
The Chevy logo?
Good. Yeah.
So, I like the Chevy logo. It's probably my favorite that they've actually rolled out. I just never got the fascination with looking like the Lakers. I mean, I guess you could say, the Chevy logo was the thing like the
originally owned by
Jerry Buss, right?
Well,
Yeah,
no, Jack Cook.
Or okay, sorry, yeah, right, okay.
Yeah,
who had a great quote when he thought that they'd sell, lots of tickets because of so many Canadians who were living in Los Angeles.
Right.
And then he responded, well, I guess they moved away from Canada because they didn't like hockey. But,
well, Zach, it could have been worse with those Kings uniforms. They could have gone with the gold pants.
Yeah, they picked the version of those uniforms that did have the purple pants. I don't know. The Kings have always been in an interesting place when it comes to what they look like because they've never had their own look.
No,
nope. It's kind of funny.
They took the Lakers look, and then they took the Raiders look, and then they took the Sacramento Kings look, and then they took the Raiders look back.
The Sacramento Kings one was great because the Sacramento Kings had that great rebrand where they went from like a generic red, white, and blue team to being like a team that stood out visually.
Right.
The LA Kings were like, whoa, there's another team called Kings, and that's kind of cool. Well, maybe we should do that.
A purple helmet would definitely help these a lot.
Yeah, it's a little too bright, especially because they were going up. Since it was a home game, they were going against a team in white, and these were originally their versions of the white jerseys.
Right, these were their home jerseys, yeah.
The NHL really needs to just let gold/yellow be a stand-in for white. Same with Nashville. Nashville should have their golds for the road, and they should just wear navy at home, in my opinion.
The only reason I like the purple and gold Kings throwbacks is because it injects some color. Like, normally when you watch a Kings game, because they turn the house lights down now, and they're always wearing black and white and silver, Kings games on TV are just
they're dull.
Visually dull.
Yeah, I agree.
And then when you turn it on, and then there's this splash of yellow or this splash of purple, and you're like, holy crap, that's visually interesting at least. Whereas like now you turn on a Kings game, and it's awful to look at. And this isn't anything against my hatred of the Kings. This is me, I'll watch any hockey game. But from like a visual standpoint, Kings games are dull.
I agree completely. They're just dull. It's bad enough that their colors are dull, but their uniforms are just – the logo on the chest is bad. There's just not a whole lot going on with these guys.
Well, the logo's trying to be the Chevy logo from the Gretzky years without actually being the Chevy logo. And
right, it's a combo of that and like the weird middle ground logo they had at the end of the purple and gold years.
Yeah, where they're like, we'll put the crown in the shape of a home plate for some reason because we think we're a baseball team. I can't really get fully on board with the criticism of the colors. Maybe I like the Gretzky-era look because the silver was a bit more prominent, so it wasn't just stark black and white. There was a splash of silver in there.
I would agree. The current uniforms are more black and white than they are black, white, and silver.
At the very least, Kings, fix your hem stripes on your home uniform.
The Kings had the perfect balance when they went to the black and purple years.
That purple jersey with the giant gray collar was fun.
Well, not that one.
That was so stupid it was fun.
But they had an interesting crown logo. The purple was enough color to make it interesting. And it worked. I mean, when they went over the edge and lost the hem stripe and it just said Los Angeles on the bottom, like if I had to pick one of their looks, I'd probably pick that one. But
I really like the coat of arms logo from that era.
The coat of arms logo was cool. I didn't like it on the front. I think it was too intricate for a crest logo. But I'd either like the Kings to go to black and purple or just say, screw it, we're going to go full purple and gold again.
I would go purple and gold. I always like these.
If they're going to go purple and gold, I prefer it if they went to the 80s version that had like the Flyers striping.
Yeah, at least on those, they're not as bright because there's more purple on the gold version.
It breaks up the banana look a bit.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of that game right now, and and it's all these gold helmets with those gold jerseys, and it's just way too much. You've got to have – it throws the whole balance of the uniform off. If you put a purple helmet on there, it totally straightens it right out. No pun intended.
For the sake of visual aids amongst the three of us, if the Kings must go purple and gold, here's what I'd like to see them in.
All right, let's see here. Yeah, those are good. I could live with that.
As Zach said, on the gold uniforms, the purple sleeves kind of break up the brightness a bit.
Yeah,
I like the gold jersey version of that better than the purple one. But it all works.
So let's say for a second, just for fun, We're going to throw out the black and white and silver and the purple and gold and completely redesign them. What color scheme would you guys go with?
Red, white, and blue with a crown in a roundel. And they instantly become Greg's favorite uniforms in the league.
No, not with the red, white, and blue. There's too much of that.
With them stealing color schemes, they did kind of appeal to something that I prefer or enjoy with certain cities when teams kind of share the same colors.
Yeah.
Like I like that the Knicks, Mets, and Islanders all have orange and blue. I like that Pittsburgh is all black.
Well,
and
until the Penguins had to go ruin it.
Well, they brought the throwback back, and that's so popular. I guarantee that'll be the
yeah. It has to be.
I like Arizona. I didn't necessarily like the Diamondbacks moving away from the teal and purple.
Oh, that World Series set for the Diamondbacks, it was ridiculous, but I have a soft spot in my heart for it.
Right, but once they went to the brick and red, same as the Coyotes, similar enough to the Cardinals. That's why I like the Kings looking like the Lakers, because they share the arena, and the Clippers should go get their own damn building, but that's, outside the place.
Well, they're not going to. Instead, they're just going to keep hiding those banners for self-esteem reasons.
Right, so if they had gone blue and gold, they could mimic the Rams in a way.
I'm trying to think of kingly colors, but we've already thrown out purple, gold, and silver, which, are big ones. I'm going to go just based off of trying to make them look kingly. I'm going to go with red and gold.
That's a good one.
And my thinking on that is that those are the colors of the main crests in the British coat of arms. They're the main colors in the coat of arms of Denmark, of Norway. All monarchies, so red and gold definitely has a royal connotation, at least in my mind. I'd go with red and gold and maybe some kind of lion crest emblem.
I catch flack all the time in our fantasy leagues because I want all my teams to be maroon and silver. I would like to see that. I was going to say red and black, but then it hit me that we've already got the Hurricanes and the Senators and there's not a lot of options out there, really. I mean, everybody always talks about color schemes being overused, but at least the NHL kind of mixes it up a little bit compared to like baseball, where I think how many teams out of the 30 have at least red or blue in their color scheme? It's like 24 or something like that.
It's something ridiculous when you break down MLB hat colors. It's really absurd.
Yeah, but I'd be cool with just the purple and gold too.
And I always prefer bright colors. Like I don't mind black as a part of a color scheme, but you need to have black and then a bright color to offset it.
Right.
Well, the problem with hockey is because it's played on a white surface, the black just looks so stark against it.
Yeah.
Right.
But on a similar train of thought, the Ducks need to either really embrace the orange, which they've started to do, or, you know what, just give up the ghost and go back to the teal and eggplant, because...
Jade, sir. How dare you?
Jade.
Sharks are teal, good sir.
Okay.
Mighty Ducks. We're proud wearers of the jade.
Well, let me take a look at the Ducks here now. Now I've got to get involved in this, too.
Well, I've always thought about it this way. I've always thought about it in the same way as, say, like the Giants and the Orioles, and you have the Ducks and the Flyers. Mm-hmm. One team is orange and black, and the other one's black and orange. The Flyers are they've been around longer. They're very clearly orange and black. Whereas the Ducks, they play in Orange County, and I own the orange jersey I own for the Stadium Series. I love. I wear it all the time. But I'd prefer the Ducks to be black and orange, just to have that separation with
and gold too, because Brian Burke thought he was in the Army.
Yeah, but the gold is being downplayed even less as time's gone on here.
I think that if you could downplay the gold a little bit more, because I'm looking at some pictures here, and the black and orange really has a nice contrast. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But the gold seems kind of, it works, but it just seems a little out of place. Like the orange is very strong, the black's very strong, and the gold's kind of like, here we are.
The problem with the gold, too, is it only works when it's in the metallic fabric. There's part of the uniform where the gold isn't the proper fabric. I don't think any of the gold is the right fabric anymore, now that I think about it.
No, they got rid of the dazzle fabric with the edge switch
right,
over.
And so now the Vegas gold that it's supposed to be looks kind of beigey.
Yeah.
Like khaki?
It's very khaki looking, yeah.
The metallic gold doesn't lend itself very well to anything that's not shiny.
Yeah.
So like it worked on the old version of the jersey. Now that they've switched to these, it doesn't work anymore. So the gold should just either be. I like it as a tertiary color though.
It's an original use of it too. You don't see it with black and orange. I don't know if you see it anywhere besides with the Ducks,
right?
Which is kind of cool,
right?
The photo gallery I'm looking at, they're playing the Lightning, and
yeah,
I know those Lightning uniforms are a total ripoff, but damn, they look good.
Well, of course they look good. They ripped off a good-looking uniform.
The only thing I hate about the Lightning's jerseys right now is they do need the black trim on the logo, and I prefer black pants.
I think they should go red and gold. Look like the Flash.
Yeah, I think DC would have an issue with that. Well, Greg, it's your favorite time of the year. Pitchers and catchers reported yesterday, today, tomorrow.
Not a whole lot of uniformity going on there with the reporting thing, is there?
No. But the biggest thing, spring training, whenever it starts, Greg's really excited. He's going to watch all the baseball games he can.
Okay, let me explain myself here. It's not that I'm that excited. I mean, it's because it's the first sign that this brutal, god-awful winter might actually end at some point.
I know. We've gone over this before. It's a bigger deal to you guys with 10 feet of snow outside your window that, spring is coming. Where it's like,
hey, you don't
look
have
outside,
to see...
like, spring's been here, guys. I don't know what
you don't have to live what we have to live with, okay?
I had salt on my window this morning from the ocean breeze.
I hate you.
I had to scrape it off my windshield.
I am leaving March 17th. We are flying to Florida to start looking for a place to live. So this hopefully will be the last winter.
You're for real about that?
I'm absolutely for real about it, yeah. And best of all, we ordered our airline tickets. We were able to upgrade to first class for $70. Unbelievable. I couldn't pass that deal up. But anyway, go ahead.
Alexander Rodriguez.
Oh, for Pete's sake. God.
He issued a handwritten apology this week. His penmanship, impeccable, really. I have issues with his Ks. They don't really look like Ks. As Dan Patrick pointed out, it makes it look like he's saying Yahees instead of Yankees. But he wrote a handwritten note to the fans. I take full responsibility for the mistakes that led to my suspension for the 2014 season. I regret that my actions made the situation worse than it needed to be. To Major League Baseball, to the Yahees, to the Steinbrenner family, the Players Association, and you, the fans, I can only say, I'm sorry. I accept the fact that many of you will not believe my apology or anything I say at this point. I understand why, and that's on me. It was gracious of the Yahees to offer me the use of Yahee Stadium for this apology. But I decided that next time I am in Yahee Stadium, I should be in pinstripes doing my job. I served the longest suspension in the history of the league for PED use. The commissioner has said the matter is over. The Players Association has said the same. The Yahees have said the next step is to play baseball. I'm ready to put this chapter behind me and play some ball. This game has been the single biggest passion since I was a teenager. When I go to spring training, I will do everything I can to be the best player and teammate possible, earn a spot on the Yahees, and help us win. Sincerely, Alex.
What? Okay.
Yes.
I can't assume that this isn't just as completely contrived as everything else he's ever done.
The best part is, because we know that it's contrived, but then he writes it to try and make it not seem contrived, when that could be the most contrived thing he could possibly do.
Exactly.
It's like that episode of South Park when Cartman tries to be a nice person by wearing a nice sweater. It's like, wearing a nice sweater doesn't make you a good person. I don't understand the difference. We know you don't. We know you don't.
I'm just so tired of this guy. I don't even know what else to say about it. I mean, it's just so contrived. It's just so Alex Rodriguez. It's just so ridiculous.
Well, did you hear the other part of the whole biogenesis thing that is supposed to come out in like a magazine article?
No.
This week? Supposedly, Alex told this magazine that he thought the company was selling him placebos and that they weren't actually drugs, that they were supposed to make him feel like he was doing better. But if Alex knew...
So he was buying placebo steroids.
Right. He thought... So if he knew that they were supposed to be placebos...
Yeah, it kind of kills the whole idea of a placebo. This guy is just too much.
I mean, it's funny, like, when I first read it, for a second, I was like, oh, a handwritten letter? Oh, he said some nice things. Maybe I can trust you, Alex. No. And then I thought about it for another 10 seconds. I was like, wait, no. What?
Right.
No.
He is out of phase with like the way he's supposed to feel about things or whatever. You know, I can't think of the word.
I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
He's just oblivious. Like, he kind of goes about his life and thinks like, no, this is... People like me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no,
delusional,
they don't, Alex.
no frontal lobe.
We know Alex Rodriguez loves himself to the point where he'll kiss himself in the mirror. Really, the only way for Alex Rodriguez to redeem himself, I mean, he's done the most that he can as far as apologizing, I think, and he served a suspension. Yeah, really, the only way for him to make us forget is if he goes out and just kind of shuts up and does just go out and do his job. And if he plays well for the Yankees, they'll put it aside. I mean, we won't ever forget it. It's not like he's going to get his number retired. Or maybe he might, based on the Yankees' new policies.
Andy Pettit's getting his number retired? Seriously? But anyway. I'm looking at his letter here and about his writing where he says, since I was a teenager, it almost looks like since I was a taxpayer.
Well, it's probably the same thing.
The biggest problem I think that he's never understood is that people never really liked him that well to begin with before all of this.
Right, yeah.
He's just not a guy that people have ever really kind of taken to. Mm-hmm. He's always just been seen as like this automaton that just plays baseball that, I don't know.
He lives in his own world in his head, though.
Oh,
and that's part of it, what you were just saying, where people haven't liked him because he just... The attitude that is put towards him is such that he just, I don't know, he doesn't get it.
Yeah, he just doesn't get it. That's the best way to put it.
He's not part of us.
Yeah, he's just, again, I'm sure there's a psychological term for it. I can't remember it. I want to say sociopath, but that's not it. No. But he's just a guy that just clearly does not understand how anything works. And I think this is the worst thing he could have done, really. Because with his reputation and what people have thought of him over all these years, to come out with a handwritten letter... No one bought it for a second.
You know, maybe it was in Comic Sans. You could have taken it seriously, but...
Well, at least it wouldn't be the Yahis, which I'm going to call them for the rest of my life now.
The Yahis.
And really, though, Alex is cursive. Impressive.
I have to say, I was impressed by his handwriting. It's just everything else about it.
I haven't used cursive since, the 4th grade.
I don't know that I could write a sentence in cursive at this point.
I can, because I had English teachers in high school who insisted that anything we wrote out by hand had to be in cursive.
Was there a reason for that?
No, it was just, they just felt that it was proper to write in cursive.
Okay.
So, whatever.
Sincerely, Alex. Well, actually,
sincerely.
It's sincerely Oafor or OX. I don't know.
That's the reason that I stopped using cursive, too, is because some letters just don't... my own name, having to write it in cursive, I hate a cursive Z. Cursive Zs are dumb. It's a 3.
No, cursive Zs are terrible.
Right, it looks like a 3.
Yeah.
You mentioned it quickly, Greg, and Andy Pettit, number retirement worthy?
No.
No.
Jorge Posada?
No.
Not exactly in the same... They don't exactly belong in the same sentence as, say, Mickey Mantle or Joe DiMaggio or Lou Gehrig.
Well, and here's the thing with the Yankees. Number retirement is supposed to be the highest honor you can possibly give someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even the Yankees acknowledge this, and they said, well, we still have a lot of great players, so they've started recently awarding guys just plaques to have, right? Mm-hmm. The 3 guys that are going to retire this year alone, not 3 separate years, this year, Jorge Posada, Andy Pettit, Bernie Williams, very good players, valuable parts to Yankee championships, plaque worthy, sure, number retirement.
No.
The only guys of the recent Yankees that should have number retired are Jeter and Rivera, and that's it.
In terms of Pettit, if he played for the Tampa Bay Rays, I could maybe see it as a team desperately trying to look for players to honor. Right. But you're the Yankees. You don't have to overinflate someone's legacy to make yourselves feel better about your own history. And
remember the part where he left and went to Houston?
Mm-hmm. With Roger Clemens, yes.
Posada and Williams are different because they were career Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Pettit went away for a minute.
Right.
And then he had the whole Roger Clemens, Brian McNamee misremembering situation.
Well, I think he's one of the few guys that's actually admitted that he did take steroids. You know,
right? And people kind of forgave him for it.
Well, yeah, but I think that's what you got to do. But
that was also it was him taking it to recover from an injury, not necessarily to improve his performance.
Yeah, because he was never like a power pitcher anyway. It didn't matter. But he's not a guy that, I mean, you don't retire his number. Come on.
No.
And not only that, but they're going to run out of numbers.
Once they retire Jeter, aren't they out of single digits?
I think 6 is still available.
No, 6 was Joe Torre.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, they're out of single digits. That's it, yeah. 2 was the last one.
It's going to get to the point where it's Futurama and they all have fractions on their backs.
It's going to have to be. They didn't retire 9 for Roger Maris, did they, or did they? Because,
yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah, he set the single-season home run record. Great, okay, but he had 2 good seasons. Come on. He won back-to-back MVPs. He was a fair ball player, but not number retirement worthy. I just pet it. Bertie Williams, I can almost make an argument for it because I always thought he was really underrated as a player. Mm-hmm. But, obviously Rivera, if you're going to do it, you got to do it. I guess Jeter, but
something that was brought up on Bill Simmons' podcast, do you think, and this is what I think it really is, when you're a legacy franchise like that and you have some down years and you want people to still come to the games and spend the money, and so you start doing things like this.
Yeah.
Where you have nights to remember the greats of the past.
Well, that's fine, but,
Like, you could have Andy Pettitte night, sure. Don't retire.
I have an Andy Pettitte bobblehead or whatever.
Why not do it like the NFL, like a lot of NFL teams do it, and even college football teams now? They have the Ring of Honor thing.
Well, football's always been different because there's a limited set of numbers for positions.
Right.
So you can't, if you want to retire a number in football, you have to be sure that you are retiring that number. Mm-hmm. No one else gets to use that.
The only cases I can think of, I know the Chargers have retired a few numbers. I know the Broncos retired 18 actually, and they had to call the guy whose number it was when Peyton Manning signed with them. I forget who it was, but it was the first quarterback.
Frank Tripucka, I believe, was his name. And
he was the first quarterback for the Broncos or something. He was 90 or something when Peyton Manning signed, and Peyton Manning had to call him to ask him for permission to unretire his number. He's like,
didn't when Jerry Rice went to the Seahawks, didn't they unretire number 80 so he could wear it? And
Steve Largent, he had to ask Steve Largent for permission. Yeah.
But and then it happened in baseball with who was with the White Sox? Omar Vizquel. That's the thing
Michael
too.
Jordan had to wear 45 because they already retired his number.
Yeah, but then again, it was his number, so I guess he should be allowed to wear it.
I always thought that was dumb. We retired the number, so you have to pick a new one. But it's my number.
Exactly. It's not like Derrick Rose came in and said, I want to wear 23.
It's like when Mario Lemieux came back. They actually took his number down from the rafters when he came back.
And then yeah, that's right. And then they put didn't they lower it back into the little box that they keep him in?
Yeah. Yeah. They basically did it in reverse. And they said, we're going to keep this on storage for a couple of years before you retire again, and we'll put it back up.
I just want to see. I got to think. I think the Yankees are well into double digits with numbers retired.
The Montreal Canadiens are up there, too.
Yeah, the Habs have a lot.
Yeah, but at least the Canadians aren't doing anything stupid like retiring Brian Giunta's number or something.
Okay, let's see here.
Right.
16 players, it says. 16 players and managers. But yes, you're right, Zach. The single digits are now gone. When they
one, and then Jeter will be in there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
15, 16, 23, 32, 37, 42, 42.
Ron Guidry got his number retired? Wow.
Is he one of those guys that died while he was playing with him?
No, that was Thurman Munson, but Guidry was good for a few years, but geez.
The Habs.
But he was on those World Series teams in the 70s.
The Habs have 15 numbers for 18 players.
Wow. Yeah. That's more than the Yankees. No, the Yankees have 16, so that's one less than the Yankees.
1 for Jacques Plante, 2 for Doug Harvey, 3 for Emile Bouchard, 4 for Jean Beliveau and Arley Gillat, 5 for Bernie, I'm going to butcher this name. Jeffrion and Guy Lapointe, 7 for Howie Morenz, 9 for Maurice Richard, 10 for Guy Lafleur, 12 for Dickie Moore.
Sorry.
12 for Dickie Moore and Ivan Cournoyer, 16 for Henri Richard and Elmer Locke, 18 for Sergei Savard, 19 for Larry Robinson, 23 for Bob Gainey, 29 for Ken Dryden, 33 for Patrick Waugh.
The Canadians one's fine. The Yankees are starting to sully themselves a little
bit.
Yeah, I'm looking at these. Okay, Billy Martin, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The guy, he was an asshole. He was good at managing a team for a year, and then they burn out on him. Babe Ruth, no question about it. Lou Gehrig, no question about it. DiMaggio, no question about it. Mantle, no question about it. Yogi Berra, okay. Bill Dickey, I mean, fortunately, he has the same number as Berra did, so no big deal. Roger Maris, I'm sorry.
I can justify Billy Martin getting his number retired if only because he put up with a lot of crap from George Steinbrenner.
But he also caused as much of that crap as he put up with, too.
That's true.
Here's one where this one really goes off the rails. Phil fucking Rizzuto. I'm sorry, but come on.
He got honored more for his time as a broadcaster than anything else.
Then retire a microphone or something, or put a patch up. But
right, which a lot of teams have done.
He's the Mendoza line of the Hall of Fame in baseball too. It's like this guy has no business being there. But if Phil Rizzuto played his entire career for the Cubs, we wouldn't even know who he is today. That's my thing.
What team has the most retired numbers in professional sports?
Celtics, I guess.
That'd be my guess.
Boston Celtics have 21 retired numbers.
Holy hell.
Robert Parrish is 00.
Right.
Walter Brown, he was the founder and owner. He was number 1 retired. Red Auerbach.
That's kind of lame, actually.
Yeah. Red Auerbach, he was a head coach and executive, so his number 2 was retired. Then actual players.
3 is Dennis. It's not Dennis Johnson, is it?
Dennis Johnson, number 3.
Wow.
Number 6, Bill Russell.
That's a good one.
Number 10, JoJo White.
Okay, JoJo White was a pretty good player, but I'm sorry, he's not number retire worthy.
Number 14 is Bob Cousy.
Cousy, okay, I can see that.
15 is Tom Heinsohn.
Tom Heinsohn?
He played for 9 years with the Celtics.
Yeah, it was like in the 60s, wasn't it? Or the 50s
yeah,
to 60s?
56 to 65.
Yeah.
He's now their color analyst on TV.
Yeah, he used to be the color analyst on CBS back in the days when the Lakers were winning all the titles in the 80s, but go ahead.
Number 16 is Satch Sanders.
Okay, never heard of him.
He played from 60 to 73. 17 is John Havlicek.
That's another one I can see. I can go along with that.
18 is Dave Cowens.
No.
So number 18 for Dave Cowens was already retired, and it was retired in 1981. Then the Celtics decided to also retire Jim Lostikoff, and his number was also number 18. But his number wasn't originally retired because he asked that his legacy be honored by the Celtics by allowing other players to wear his number in the future. So instead of a number hanging in the rafters, his nickname of Lossy, L-O-S-C-Y, hangs in the rafters.
Okay.
Number 19 is Don Nelson.
I'd have to see his stats, but okay.
21, Bill Sharman. Played for 10 years, 50 to 61.
As far as I understand, he was supposed to be a great player, but I don't know. 22,
Ed McCauley, again from the 50s.
Okay.
23 is Frank Ramsey, 50 to 64. Sam Jones, number 24, 57 to 69. Casey Jones, 58 to 67.
Those two were both part of the that dynasty Celtics team that won like 9 out of 12 or whatever it was.
31, Cedric Maxwell. I'm looking at a lot of these dates when these numbers were retired, and a lot of them make sense. They were within a couple years of them retiring. Cedric Maxwell didn't get his number retired. He retired in 85, or left the Celtics in 85. He didn't get his number retired until 2003, when he was in his third year as a broadcaster for the Celtics. 32, Kevin McHale.
Okay, that I can go along with.
Number 33 is some guy.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've heard of him before. Larry Bird.
Something. I think wasn't he from Indiana or something.
Yeah, some Indiana State, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Number 35 is Reggie Lewis. His is retired because he died of a heart attack while playing for the team.
Right.
And then they retired a microphone for Johnny Most, and they had a shamrock with Red Auerbach's name on it.
Then the Minnesota Wild retired number 1 for the number 1 fans in the NHL.
Well, didn't Seattle retire number 12 for the 12th man?
There's a lot of teams that have done it for the fans. Like the Florida Panthers retired the number 93 for their original owner.
Oh, okay.
Brought into the league. Yeah. Mike, you're a fan of a legacy franchise.
Yeah.
But they don't retire numbers. Only if you die.
Yes, if you die, they retire. They have honored
die while
numbers.
Playing for the team.
They have honored numbers where they hang a banner.
Creepy black and white portraits of players.
Yes.
Hanging in the rafters.
Yes, but the
look at our dead Heroes.
But the Maple Leafs will only retire your number if you died playing for the team. It's really weird. I don't know why they do it.
Hold on a second, people.
But it is what they do.
Are you telling me that you guys haven't retired Ty Domi's number?
No.
For Pete's sake. There's no justice. I mean, Wendell Clark?
I want them to honor it, Lo, so then we have a giant portrait of Ty Domi hanging in the arena.
No Wendell Clark? Come on.
Wendell's is honored, isn't he?
Yeah, Wendell's honored.
Yeah.
But I want Ty Domi's to be honored, and I want the portrait to be a screenshot of that one time when he fought that fan in the penalty box.
Because they don't just hang the name and number. They put like a picture of them playing.
I want the picture to be of like Ty Domi like pulling his arm back, ready to punch someone.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's Tabs.
Zach's Tabs!
Another fine effort, Mike. Well done.
You're getting a little gritty there in the throat.
I like it. He's kind of taking like a heavy metal approach to it.
You smoking lately or something?
I'll tell you the amount of mod reports I've had to deal with. I'm seriously considering it.
Okay, breaking NBA news. Today was a trade deadline. Kevin Garnett has been traded back to the Timberwolves to finish his career.
Okay, that's good for him.
Yeah, that'll be neat for him.
Yeah, he gets to sit there and wow, that's tough. That's a tough gig playing for the Timberwolves.
The NFL Combine is this upcoming weekend.
Oh God!
And it was announced that Jameis Winston was going to throw at the Combine. You know, it's always a question whether the quarterbacks are going to throw or not. Other interesting Jameis Winston news, just like I suspected all along. He is going to be Jamarcus Russell. And not just in terms of the way he throws or the way he acts, but his physique is something to behold.
I'm going to make the joke that's been made about, 11 billion times at this point, but it seems like Jameis has been hitting the crab legs pretty hard these days.
Yeah. He's
fat.
He's fat.
Simple as that.
He's a fat quarterback.
And I've heard a lot of talk that Tampa Bay they're going to take Winston over Mariota,
which seems asinine.
Have you seen the Buccaneers quarterback decisions lately? This fits right in.
I know.
I mean, they're probably looking at Jameis Winston be like, Luke McCown is the perfect tutor for him.
We couldn't get Zeppo, so we'll use Luke.
I don't know, whichever McCown they have. I don't know. Is it Josh or Luke?
I think it's Luke, isn't it? Or is it Josh?
Who cares? They're interchangeable.
I don't know if I draft either one of those guys at this point, really.
Yeah.
Somebody made a good point about Joey Harrington being an Oregon quarterback that everybody thought was the next great QB from Oregon, and he didn't turn out to do much. But you never know.
But then again, he went to the hapless Lions, who had basically Joey Harrington and like 10 wide receivers and nothing else.
Yeah, that's true. Somebody could just screw the Cleveland Browns and get like half their draft for one of those two players, I guarantee it. All right, go ahead, Zach.
Sticking with the NFL quarterbacks, Russell Wilson. He saw 50 Shades of Grey last weekend.
Why am I not at all surprised by that?
God. On Thursday night, actually. Opening night.
Why?
Well, he was a fan.
Is he really?
So he put his review up on Twitter.
Oh, boy.
Thanks for the early showing of hashtag 50 Shades of Grey last night. Hashtag Emerald City. Great movie.
I'm uncomfortable with this.
He likes
Not talking about 50 Shades of Grey. I'm uncomfortable with Russell Wilson liking it.
Russell Wilson likes 50 Shades of Grey.
Uh-huh.
The best part is the article I'm reading.
Has anyone seen the trailers to that? Why am I just imagining a theater full of middle-aged women and Russell Wilson watching 50 Shades of Grey?
I mean, part of me, I'm not surprised at all. I think that there's something going on underneath that goody-goody two-shoes persona he's got going on there.
So a lot of people were not really happy that he went to a 100-minute expose on BDSM. Things like, come on, man, that is moral filth. I'm more than confused, Russell. I thought you professed to be a Christian. And yes, I'm judgmental. John 7:24.
People.
I mean, as
really,
far as
I'm honestly not sure how you can
nothing
quote
in the Bible against BDSM. Like, I don't know.
Really, I'm not sure how you can quote Bible verses all the time and say this is a good movie. Don't say you represent Christ and then publicly endorse a movie filled with immorality and sexual violence.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Saying it was a good movie is sick and wrong. Man, why support that garbage? Damn it, Russ. Hashtag lies, not a great movie.
Hashtag
Lies. You lie.
People questioning, were you hacked?
Were you
Then he tweeted later, saw a movie filmed in the town I call home. Provocative and disturbing, no doubt, but that does not make me less faithful, with a capital F.
He shouldn't even have...
Have a blessed day.
He should not have dignified any of that bullshit with a comment, is the way I see it.
I guarantee you, if he hadn't thrown that interception and if the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, people wouldn't have been giving him crap for anything.
Well, he also said that the movie was filmed in a town he calls home, Seattle. Fun fact, filmed in Vancouver, Russell.
Which, to be fair, is like Canada's Seattle, I guess.
I've heard a lot of good things about Vancouver. Like, they've got great strip clubs, from what I understand.
And then Russell decided to tweet again. Now on a more serious and lighter note, hashtag Scarface, with a capital F in Scarface,
oh, jeez,
is an all-time ultimate classic, with the quote, "She's a tiger."
Did the Christians lose their minds over him liking Scarface? No.
No response.
Of course not.
Because people like Scarface.
Because, well, not only that, but it's okay to, saw a guy in half with a chainsaw while he's hanging in a shower. That's fine. But can't have any of that sex stuff going on now. Come on. That's against the rules. Can't do that. People are such fucking morons. We've got to just trade the entire human race to somewhere else and start over. Jupiter, whatever, yeah.
Let's go to the ice.
All right.
Ice. This weekend is the Stadium Series game up at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. The NHL had a visitor to its webcam yesterday. A raven
Have you seen this, Mike?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you've got to see this. This is awesome.
A raven landed in front of the camera, stared directly at it, and crowed at the camera for like 10 seconds.
It just walks right up.
Yeah, it just kind of flies in. Caw!
Like it knew what it was doing. Like it was like, it's hysterical. I cracked up when I saw it. It is so cool.
It's really brilliant. Because it like stares around and then caws at it, like directly into the camera.
I like to think this is a dark omen on Gary Bettman.
Yeah.
Probably.
He just saunters right into frame.
Yeah, he speaks his piece and off he goes, yeah.
Pretty great.
Yeah. Actually, I've heard that ravens are actually a lot smarter than we give them credit for, so maybe he did know what he was doing.
There is a theory that they revenge kill.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta like a bird that revenge kills. I mean...
Like... They remember those that have wronged them, basically. So maybe Gary Bettman accidentally hit a raven one day on his way home from work, and now they're stalking him.
Or it's waiting for Joe Thornton to arrive.
It smells death on Joe Thornton.
The Toronto Argonauts, they made a cameo on Family Guy this weekend, Mike.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Argos, all right.
The joke was Peter and his friends are sitting on the couch watching TV, and the TV says, "Now back to CFL Hard Knocks, Toronto Argonauts." And it's just a couple quarterbacks. They're engaged in an intense quarterback battle for the starting position, and they're just kind of sitting on the field talking politely to each other. If you wish to watch it at some point, it's there.
Oh, they got the Argos uniforms wrong.
They did. And the final note, some breaking news out of Alabama, guys. When you think Alabama, you think of the greatest scientific minds of our era, correct?
Of course, yes. It is the intellectual mecca of our age.
The people of WAFF 48 in Huntsville, Alabama, on their Facebook page, it's 20 degrees, right?
Right.
Yeah. We put 2 cups of water outside this morning and checked them after an hour and a half. It's so cold you can freeze water outside. So the headline is, Alabama news station reports that water freezes when cold. There's a full news report with it, too, if you're so inclined. Yes, it is cold, Alabama.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I like how they have the on-site reporter wearing a
parka. Yeah.
Guess what? When it's cold out, water freezes. No way.
Guys, if it's under 32 degrees and you put a cup of water outside, you'll get ice.
No, come on.
Nah,
that's not in the Bible, dude.
I'm surprised.
I done synced it. I synced it.
I'm surprised they didn't get a mob going to hunt for the witch who caused
I was just going to say, like some sort of voodoo witchcraft shit they got going on. Like,
they're witches! Burn them!
Well, do ducks float? Yes. Well, then does she float? Yes. Then she's a duck! Burn the duck! So, yes. Alabama, just, you're a treasure, people of Alabama. Roll Tide. Roll Frozen Eagle. Tide. And the funny thing about that is, now that I think about it, Huntsville, Alabama, is the home to the University of Alabama Huntsville, which actually has a Division I hockey program. So you would think that they'd understand that.
Well, we'll take it a step further. Huntsville also is a place, I believe they build rockets there for NASA.
They build NASA rockets in Alabama?
They sure do.
Hey, have you seen my flux capacitor anywhere?
It's a wonder you people got to the moon.
It surprises me every day.
Okay, is that it?
That's it, yeah.
All right. Anyway, so you know the routine. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Go to the website and listen to all of our old episodes and all the new episodes at BasicallyASportsShow.com. Spreaker, Stitcher, iTunes, and I think that's
YouTube.
it. YouTube, right. So with that, we're going to call it a night.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.